Welcome back everyone. We got our first taste of what this Laker team might look like heading into this season, and I think we even learned a few minor details about them too. Now hold on to the overreactions here, but we definitely did get a good preview of their team, with that primarily applying to their role players. I mean, if you're trying to judge them based on their starting lineup or even their rotation in general, then I'm really not sure you know what you're doing here. They were obviously missing LeBron, but even Austin Reeves too, two major components of their team system. And we really do need to keep that in mind here. I know we want to see them win every single game they play in, but that's simply not realistic, and especially not during preseason. But again, I think we can, albeit cautiously, take a few things away from what they showed us on Saturday night, and we're going to talk about them in today's video. Real quick before we get into it though, if you would like to hear my thoughts on other NBA teams, then be sure to check out my second channel, JSM+. We really try our best to talk about every NBA team over there, and we recently covered the Damian Lillard trade from the Bucks standpoint, the Suns standpoint, and even Jrue Holiday being traded to the Celtics during the aftermath. And if any of that sounds like the type of content you might enjoy, then I would really appreciate it if you gave it a look. I'll leave a link to check it out in the video description down below. But without wasting any more time here, let's dive right into it. And the number one takeaway I have for any team during preseason is simply not to overreact. I know I mentioned that before, but getting into the actual stat lines and individual performance here, a lot of people were overreacting. I mean, I've seen everything from Jalen Hood-Schifino being called a bust, the Christian Wood signing being labeled a failure already, and much more that was simply ridiculous. Not only the bad here, but don't get too confident about the good either. The Lakers won't be shooting nearly 40% from 3 as a team throughout the whole season, nor will Anthony Davis be dropping 15 points in only 12 minutes every game. But I think another big one we need to address happened to be Taurean Prince fouling out in only 12 total minutes, which was really a complete anomaly. Taurean Prince has never been known to get in that kind of foul trouble. I mean, if you simply take the time to look at his career, the guy's averaged only 2.1 fouls per game and 23.9 minutes per game, or if you translate that to per 36-minute average, only about 3.1 fouls per game. In other words, you won't be seeing that from him very often. A big part of training camp and preseason is simply getting everyone back in shape, and the early parts of it can be kind of ugly at times, which this happened to be an example of. Now, I'm not saying that Taurean Prince will be a lockdown defender for them or anything like that, but he should round out to be an average one, and one that you will rarely see foul out in under 20 minutes per game of action. In fact, I doubt you ever see that happen again from him at all. Another overreaction I've seen is that the Lakers gave up 125 points and therefore their defense fell off. Yet another take based solely off one game of preseason action. Pretty hilarious stuff here. We're talking about a team that was the second rated defense following the trade deadline last season, and one that you can argue may have even gotten better. They retained their defensive anchor in Anthony Davis, brought back their lockdown wing defender in Jared Vanderbilt, added a great point of attack defender in Gabe Vincent, and then bulked up their front court in wing depth. I mean, nobody can deny that Golden State has a great offense, but I guarantee if Anthony Davis had played a full 35 minutes that wouldn't have happened, let alone if they simply had their full team available. In addition to that, a lot of people who clearly did not watch the game were saying that Gabe Vincent was part of the problem. He was defending the point of attack for them after all, which was where the Golden State offense knocked down 15 total 3-point shots. However, if you're trying to pin any of the blame on Gabe Vincent here, then you really look pretty dumb. I thought he looked great on defense, and if anything, I think he should be getting more compliments rather than skepticism. But again, I know the majority of overreactions here from NBA Twitter who really does not watch the games, and that's something that we simply have to live with nowadays. Moving on though, something I think we can take away from this game happens to be the real leap forward from Max Christie. Now, he does have to maintain it, but what he showed during Summer League was quite obviously not a one-time thing. The guy came out and put up 15 points in only 24 minutes, shot 6 of 10 from the field, 2 of 4 from the 3-point line, and overall looked very confident out there, which is really the main takeaway for me here. Looking that way during Summer League while being viewed as the number one option for them was one thing, but translating that to preseason, and then of course the regular season will be another thing entirely, though I think he's proving that he can do it. There is a night and day difference between what he looked like last year compared to what he looks like right now. He is significantly more confident on both ends of the court. But in regard to offense, he is no longer shying away from contact, never hesitates to shoot the ball, and is simply better at reading the defense, allowing him to get to his spots in the court a whole lot easier. And while a lot of fans doubt his ability to become their backup shooting guard, I think he's proving that he can do that, and maybe even more as well, especially when referring to his long-term outlook. But even in the short term, I believe that Christie will be a reliable 3-and-D option for them off the bench. And other than Reeves, he could very well be their only other wing player who rounds out as both an above-average defender and an above-average 3-point shooter. Depending on how quickly he picks up being a regular member of the rotation, he could even have a chance of finishing games for them during certain matchups, or whenever Vanderbilt, Hachimura, and Prince are either out or not playing well, and I really wouldn't be shocked by that happening either. Again, we're only talking about one preseason game here, but Christie continues to get better for them, and like I referred to before, they need to figure out what they have in him before his contract comes to an end next summer. Finally though, I think we need to talk about their 3-point shooting. Now, let me reiterate that I do not think they'll be shooting 40% from 3 every game, though I do think that they'll be taking and making more of them this season. And not only that, but I think that Anthony Davis will qualify for that too. He somewhat quietly knocked down 2 of his 3 total attempts from 3 last night, and if what we've heard about him working on getting his shooting motion back, then this was a great step in the right direction. I mean, there were only 5 games total that he knocked down 2 or more 3-point shots in last season, or in other words, he's already 20% of the way there through 1 preseason game. It's not even about the fact that he shot poorly last season, even though he obviously didn't shoot well at only about 25%, it's more about the fact that he wasn't even looking to take them. It was almost like his confidence shooting the ball completely disappeared. Now, I think we can all agree that we want him around the rim more than he's around the 3-point line, but having the ability to knock down that 3-point shot is pretty darn important for them. Being able to draw their opponent's rim protector away from the rim is absolutely key to getting high quality shot attempts for everybody else. I mean, I'm not expecting him to return to the bubble AD shooting version of himself, but I would like to see him get back to shooting around 33% at the very least. In my opinion, that would do wonders for their offense. Another thing worth taking a light note of is the 3-point shooting from their starting lineup in general. They shot 9 of 15 from the 3-point line, including 2 made 3-point shots from Jared Vanderbilt, another guy that we've been keeping a close eye on in regard to 3-point shooting. And I think everybody was eagerly awaiting what he looked like shooting the ball again. And while nothing looked different from a shooting mechanics standpoint, he quite obviously was pretty confident. Now, I for one need to see more from him before saying anything conclusive, but I like what he showed us in game number 1, and that goes for their entire team as well. With all of that being said though, what do you guys think? How do you feel about what the Lakers showed us in preseason game number 1? Comment your thoughts down below. That will do it for this video though. Big thank you to those of you who took the time to watch until the end of this video, and until the end of all of my videos in general. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and turn on notifications to get notified right away when I drop a new video. But as always, thank you for watching and have a great day.